Dr. Jessica Ash here. Today, I have the honor of speaking with Peter Marcus about playing a bigger game. Now, Peter Marcus' coaching methodology is it's all about you, exercising your leadership effectively. So stay tuned. So today we're going to explore you in leadership. And to help us do that, we have Peter Marcus of Peter Marcus Coaching. Welcome, Peter.
Hey, thank you. Hi, good to see you, Jessica.
Yeah, thanks for being here with us today. And can you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
I can do that. It depends on what type of an introduction I'm really required to do here. You know, I could tell you I'm a singer and dancer, or I could actually talk a little bit about business and leadership. But my job today and for the past 27 years really has been in coaching, primarily family business, private organization, ranging from the 30 to $300 million mark here in North America and in Northern Europe. And I actually have two base of operations, one out of South Florida and one out of Northern Europe, out of Como, Milano in Italy.
Well, I'm very excited to have you here today because many of our viewers are in business and they could use a business strategies coach. And so I'm hoping that I'd like to really start with the phrase that is the title for today. And I'll put it out there that we're hoping to do a series of these. And so everybody out there, we want your participation. Please ask questions. But let's break down the phrase that is the title, playing a bigger game. Why is that phrase so important?
Well, it's really a choice phrase. You know, we in business, we often think about, I have to go to work today. And that's one way of looking at things. I want to choose to look at a different way and say, hey, I'm choosing to go out and play today. Now, I'm not talking frivolous play. I'm talking the real serious kind of play that one does when one chooses to play a game. And sports actually analogy is a really good way to look at the inclusion word play into the way that we do things. When we play a sport, that's the focus. We're not going out to work a sport. When we play music, we're going out to play music. We're not going out to work music. And yet, think of what finite, ultimate kind of results can come out of playing music or playing a sport.
So there are a couple of things I really like about that. And one of the reasons why you're on our station is I love your word choice. And if people can practice just switching from, oh, I have to, whatever, to I choose to, it's a very empowering verbal switch. And we choose to play games, and I choose to do this in my free time. I love it. This is like play for me. And to help people switch from, oh, I have to do whatever, to I get to, or I choose to, and it's more like a game than it is of a drudgery of work. So I find great empowerment in your phrases.
Well, yeah, the utilization of words is a real asset because when we choose to do something, we automatically bring more to it. And it's a subconscious thing. We don't have to think about what it is we're choosing to do, but we choose to do certain things, and that empowers some. Kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes on inside our mental system. And that empowers some kind of something goes to actually come into being. And the word of choice, the word of choosing, the word of chosen, the word, just think about the entity or the power of the choice is. It means, oh, I can go in either direction. Or just think about, I have chosen. Oh, it's a me thing. I have chosen. Think about, I am choosing. Now, I'm in the process of, okay, I am choosing. I'm involved with it. So to me, the utilization of certain words in aspects of playing a bigger game, which is what we're talking about. So we can play with some of the words as we actually play the bigger game. And that's a part of the word choice. The word choice of chosen or choosing or chosen,
Right.
choosing,
Yeah.
choice or whichever. It's all choice. It's something that we do on our behalf. It's very personal to choose.
And the idea here that I am often want to help people with is whatever is in here, that's how you're going to create the world that you see. And if you see
Mm.
the world as I have to, then you're going to see the world
Hmm.
as drudgery. But if you choose to see the world as I choose to play, then you're happier.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And so,
I think
yeah,
there's something. Yeah,
go ahead.
I think there's something really important in that because, how much time do we spend on rethinking goals, right? Like, okay, in the morning, I might think, okay, should I have another cup of coffee? Do I have time? I've got to jump on that. Am I prepared? So we always keep rethinking, and we're always trying to figure out things that we may be able to implement in the life of our dreams, right? So this is having a look at what I call knowing who you've become. And by instituting this thought of playing a bigger game, choosing to play a bigger game really is what it's all about. So when one chooses to play a bigger game, the first component part of it is having a look at who I've become, because I'm a player in the game. And if we think of sport again, or performance, or theatre, or music, or art, if the artist is not in the game, let me tell you, there's not going to be much paint put on the canvas. If the tuba player is not in the orchestra, there's not going to be anything coming from the tuba. So, as a business person, when we choose to play a big, and that's where this choice comes in. But it's about knowing who I am. I'm a tuba player, I'm an artist, I'm a performer, I'm a dancer, I'm a singer. This is who I am. And as a business owner, it's often I'm a business owner, right? That's
Right.
it. So what's the job description for a business owner?
Everything.
That's right,
Yeah,
everything. Is it delineated, by the way? Is it like, can I go down line item by line item every day? Whereas if the job description for a business owner was that of the president or the CEO, there would be a finely delineated line item. So the business owner is not so clear. It's a business owner. Founder is the same thing. Maybe the founder's got certain responsibilities. So when we look at being a business owner, one of the basic component parts we can put in is by choosing what role we're going to play as a business owner. I might not be the best salesperson. I might not be the best display person. I might not be the best technology person. My job as a business is and to bring forth leadership so that they perform at their best. And there's another choice of words, leadership. It's a
and
word that
also
we've spoken a lot of.
yeah, so there each
Can you
phrase
repeat
that
that?
bringing yeah. Each part of that phrase is relevant. So bringing forth And then you're
Mm.
choosing leadership as opposed to like the human as a leader. So talk about the whole phrase.
Yeah. Well, leader is I talk about leader and CEO and president and vice president, salesperson, doctor, professor, mother, lawyer, or whatever. They're just titles. We call them egoistic titles. And
Yes.
an egoistic title does one thing: it allows for somebody else to view you with what they think the job title means. That's what it means. That's an egoistic title. You know, you're a professor. Okay, I've got my ideas about a professor. When we talk about a business leader, right? We talk about a business leader. Well, I've got ideas about business leader. You know, I mean, kind of not well formed because there's no real job description to being a business leader. The thing that I like to do is to really explore the word of leadership, because leadership is not a job. Leader is a job. You know, you have to do things as a leader. You have to do things as a CEO. There's a job description of form. It's not fully defined in leader, but it is fully defined in CEO or CFO or COO. You know, the titles actually delineate the job. Um, Leadership is not a job. Leadership is a way of being. Leadership is really the foundation which things can be built on. And there are ways of looking at leadership, of course. You know, the servant leadership, you know, I'm here to take care of what's going on. It's a really important category. And I think that people kind of look at it and say, well, you know, it's already formed. And where did servant leadership come from? Many years ago, the leader in Zen Buddhism, the chief priest, the chief monk. What is the leader in Zen Buddhism called? Any idea?
Uh, Bodhisattva?
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So, you know, I can always throw this thing back to you because I know that you've got this wide, like, knowledge base. But so the leader's job was to wash the rice. That's it.
Oh,
The
yes.
leader's job is to wash the rice. Think about this. This is caring for the people. You know, the Pope. What's the Pope's job? It's really to bring change for good to the people. Sometimes these things don't work out so well. Sometimes, you know, they do. But the
Well,
reality is, so leadership is a way of being.
and I was just thinking that as the leader in Buddhism, their job is to wash the rice. It was Jesus's task to wash the feet of the disciples. Service.
Yeah, yeah. Right. It's serving the people. It really is. And leadership is about serving the people. So when one brings leadership into one's entity of playing a bigger game, oh, okay, now we're taking care of the entity. And by incorporating these ways of being can, I believe, really be advantage to the end result. And the end result in a business is to be profitable, to actually bring values, to care for the client, to care for the staff and the team, and to, I also believe, be innovative. And innovation is a vital part of being in business. But let's come back a little bit in playing a bigger game, because I think that in playing a bigger game, having a look at who I've become is vital as well. Knowing who I am, not knowing who I am as like the CEO of the firm and my job is to do this, this, and this, but knowing who I am as an individual within that role or within the leadership role. Knowing who I am is really vitally important. One of our core kind of products um, is a little three-part boot camp, really, called Knowing Who I Am. And the first part really become, not who you were and probably not who you're going to be, but really who you are today. And this is in itself myself, perhaps the most important ingredient is knowing who I am. If I'm looking in a mirror, having a look at who I am, seeing myself is not, I've done this, I've done that, I've accomplished this, I've failed at that, I've won at that. It's not about that. It's just having a look at who I've become. This is who I am today. I'm a business owner, I'm a founder, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a dad, I'm a traveler, I'm an explorer. It's not I'm a good explorer. It's not I'm a great traveler. It's just done without judgment. Now, there's a big deal. Because if what we're doing is we're having to look at ourselves without judgment, then what? Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's some really, you've helped me a lot in my own leadership understanding of myself. And the idea that we aren't who we were yesterday and we aren't
Right.
who we're going to be tomorrow. And the idea that we should, there are several phrases here that really help me with this of yours. And one of them that I'm thinking of right now is the idea of results. And when you and I first met, it was very, very helpful for me to hear you talk about results. And it wasn't, did you succeed? It wasn't, did you fail? It was just that you have put yourself in the game of practice, Jesse, and you have done something. What did you do? Just look at it without putting the word success or failure with it. You have a result. It's not good. It's not bad. And what do you want to do now that you have gotten to this unique point? And so the idea of results without
Right.
judging yourself just really helped me to be honest with the result that I had achieved at that point.
Yeah, results don't lie, right?
But
A
we judge
result does.
ourselves
However,
so much.
what a result.
Go ahead.
Well, there's no judgment. What did I just say about having a look in the mirror? It's not being good or bad or right or wrong. It's just who I am. I'm never going to be 6'4", blonde hair, blue eyed surfer. It's just not going to happen. Whatever, willingness, want, desire, even if I get the best kind of plastic surgeon in the world, they're not going to make me 6'4". It's just not going to happen. However,
Yeah.
the result of who I am is me, right? And results don't lie. So the important thing about result is not just the result, is the important thing is actually to utilize the result to make a decision going forward from. And the first thing is to look at what the result is. Now, if there is no result, like when I first meet you, you may say this and this and this, or this is what I've created, this is what I am. But that to me doesn't really break into the game. So what I will do is actually I will implement something that you decide to do with me or alongside me, or something that I know about. And when the result of that comes forward, then we've got a playing field to work on. So this is where result comes in, and I can utilize result as a form of inspection as well. Like, so, okay, we got a result, we stood up, we got 23 people participating in the project. What can we do with the result? Does 23 okay? Is that what you expected? Now we're looking further, because now we're looking at what your estimate is. Now we're looking at how you can associate yourself with your capabilities. And this is a vitally important factor. When we can associate what it is that we do with our abilities. You might have said, well, my target was 37. We can say, okay, was that a little bit further stretch than you were capable of, given that you only had 3 days to do it in? Or you might say, well, my target was 12, but I got 23. And there I might say, well, perhaps you really didn't give yourself credit for who you really are. We're beginning to be able to get into the game together. And my job is to be another head on somebody's shoulders, is to be able to whisper in their ear. and do what it is that you've been bringing forth. You've been bringing forth certain kind of little statements that you've heard from me that are, somewhere along the line when you hear those things going on, you go, oh, well, what would Peter say? Or, how does this happen? I'm taking this on. I didn't ask you the question, but has this occurred to you that sometimes you've said, oh, well, what would Peter say about this?
Oh, all the time. And the another one that really helped a lot regarding playing a bigger game is the idea of leadership and putting yourself into the game of practice. You don't have to be perfect
Mm,
or the best leader. You are where you are at this given moment in history, and just keep practicing. And that's what dancers do.
yeah.
And that's what football players do. They keep practicing. And sometimes they don't make the soccer goal, or sometimes they don't, dancers don't make the full
Yeah.
split or whatever, but they're still practicing. And so it was really encouraging me to be like, oh, you're in leadership. And I was like, I'm in leadership? What? And it was just, okay, well, practice. What's next? And so it really just took a lot of
Yeah.
pressure off me.
I'm a real believer in this being in the game of practice, right? It isn't about the kind of big starring role. It isn't about the super important presentation. It isn't about the big sale. Those things come about if we're doing our jobs, right? We get opportunities to play that big game or be out there on that special day. The game of practice is what we show up for every day. If we're in the game of practice, if we show up for practice every day, the coach has got an opportunity to pick us. If the coach doesn't see us there on time every day, the coach is not going to give us a chance to play. And I work my clients as a sport coach. I choose how many clients. I choose 11 is my number because I follow the game of football or soccer, as we call it in Europe, right? And it's an 11-person team. It's also got a reserve and players coming through. Doesn't mean that I only deal with 11 players. But sometimes my first team goes down to 6 or 7. Now I've really got to kind of pull people off the bench and put them in. What I'm looking for is a first team player, an organization, a business owner, a founder who really goes out and plays the bigger game. So all of this stuff fits in together, but the game of practice is vital. Show up on a daily basis for the game of practice. We instituted something, I guess, just about 6 months ago on Clubhouse. It was November. It's now, I guess, May. So it was 5 months or 6 months, whatever it is. And it was the game of practice. Went out 6 a.m. from East Coast, 11 a.m. in the UK, and 12 noon. And every day it was a place for people to come and practice. Business owners, business founders, leaders, people who wanted to be in business, people who had perhaps been in business, were looking at something new to do, people who worked in organizations were perhaps looking for the next role, their next role.
Mhm.
Where ownership and leadership really come into play. And we titled it Being in the Game of Practice. It's called Business Life Global Strategies because business doesn't change country to country. The globe is the globe, is where we happen, we're living on this planet, traveling around 76,000 miles an hour. Somehow we're here, right? It's bigger than I will ever understand. And we're floating around amongst a zillion of these planets, right? And here we
Right.
are. So the global attitude, I believe, is really important. I love playing a bigger game as well, but the strategy part is the choice. Like the strategy is how we play the game, and being in the game of practice allows for us to work out the kinks, show up for practice every day. Listen, on the day of the big game, we know where we're going to be. We know our position. We know who we play alongside. We know how to receive the ball or pass the ball. We know where other people are going to be because we're a part of this playing a bigger game. we're a part of a team. And in business, team is valuable. You might be a one person, a solopreneur. However, you still have suppliers or vendors or the phone company or the electric company or a spouse or, or kids or family and
Right.
friends. There are still people. The male person is part of your team. If the mail doesn't come, you go, oh my God, the check didn't arrive in the mail or things like this. When we look at the use of internet, it's part of our team. So when we look at being, even the solopreneur actually has a team. So putting all of these component parts together, being in the game of practice allows for things to be recognizable when it's time to play the big game. We don't work in practice to play the big game. The big game is something that we do because we've worked in practice. So these are all vitally important things. And being in the game of practice is an attitude. I'm here, I show up, I'm on time. I don't know how many times you joined a room that perhaps I was in or I was leading. Um, but, it's a rarity if I'm late. I'm there on time. Sometimes I don't show up at all because something happens, right? But it's a rarity when something happens. It's not the way. It's like if I was a sports person or playing soccer, I might get my ankle kicked. I'm not going to play the next game. That's what this has been in the game of practice. It's really important to play this. Knowing who I am comes back into this category. And this is really the first component of playing a bigger game. It's interesting, we've gone round this thing now for a
Yeah.
while, and yet we've only just started to glance at having a look at who I've become to play a bigger game. The choice is there, and that's where we started this conversation. The choice is I make a choice. I make a choice. Now, the choice is really the decision, and the
Right.
decision will bring a result. If the result is not what I wanted, I'm going to choose to do something different. If the
Right.
result is what I wanted, I'm going to do more of it. But the result doesn't lie, gives me a firm basis to work from.
And the lack of judgment permits you to be in the game of practice. And if success comes from anywhere, it's from that practice. You don't just show up on the game day and then suddenly kick 5 goals. If you're practicing enough, then eventually you'll have some kind of
Yeah.
success. And one other, I want to talk
Yeah.
about one other phrase that's super valuable from you, and that it relates to what we're talking about. It's up until now. Tell me a little bit
Mm.
about what up until now means in the Peter Marcus coaching.
Yeah, up until now, the keys to freedom in life is what I call it. But, the keys to freedom in life, I call it, it's 3 words, the keys to freedom in life. And the way that I approach it um, is, is that when we start to take on the up until now phrase, it's really an allowance that everything that's happened to us in our life up until that moment is okay. When we start to look at changing something, the focus is on the change. When we start to take on things with up until now, we're actually looking at what we're going to do next. So there's a little bit of psychology in this game, and people, I often kind of do the introduction to the up until now phrase by saying, look, I'm going to introduce to you 3 words that I believe are the keys to freedom in life, and and I often get, well, so tell us what the words are. I'm hungry for the words. Are the words like this big magnificent thing? Well, up until now. Okay, so up until now, I'm continually late. Or, I can say, well, I'm always late. Oh, it's not good, is it? Okay, I'm always late. Or, my boss told me I'm not working hard enough. Or, or my teacher said that I could do better, or my spouse said that I'm lazy. Okay, those are phrases that I'm hopeful that we don't hear too regularly, but
Right.
they
Yeah.
come out in life, right? Oh, the kids are always making noise. However, by instituting three words in before those statements, up until now, the kids are always making noise. Oh, let me talk to them about it. Up until now, I've always been late for my appointments. Well, now I've got a choice to go forward. Up until now, the three words I suggest to everybody, put them on a stickum, put them on 5 pieces of stickum and stick them all over the house. In fact, certainly put one on the dashboard of your car, because every
Oh,
time you go over the speed limit, just have a look. Well, up until now, I always speed. Oh, now I've got a choice. I can really follow the rules. And there's another game to play, because driving is a real prover. You know, how many people actually stick to a speed limit?
not me.
Not many. No, not many. Okay. So
I
one
said
of the
not
things that
me.
I ask, okay, well, one of the things I ask is that, okay, for 60 seconds, I want you to stick to the speed limit, and don't pick up your phone, don't answer it if it rings, don't look around, just stay focused on the road, stay focused on driving at the speed limit. And then next time we chat, let's find out what occurred. And it's amazing in 60 seconds what happens when you stick to the speed limit. You look around and everybody's flying by you. Yeah, you go, oh my God, what's going on? Right? And you get to see this thing, because we're so much in the mode of automation, this automatic process that we get into. We're not doing what it is that we're choosing to do at that moment in time. So having to look at who you've become, this is another thing, having to look at who you've become. I always drive too fast. I'm always over the speed limit. Even if it's 3 miles an hour, 10 kilometers an hour over the speed limit, whatever it is, it's over the speed limit. Stick to it and see that everybody drives faster, right? Look around. People are on the phone in the car. They're chatting, they're having sandwiches, they're drinking coffee. The weaving around the road, they're crossing lanes to get somewhere. This is what goes on. And in 60 seconds, this stuff becomes apparent. Now I'm in touch with something. And
Focus.
it's 60 seconds. Yeah. So
And the
these
idea,
are
go
all
ahead.
important things about knowing who I am, having a look at who I am, having a look at who I've become. And again, like I said, this is the first component of this little mini boot camp that we instigate with all people. In fact, before we take on a client, we actually run this program with them. They probably know that they're in the "am I going to hire you as my client" phase, but
Wow.
it really is, because I only want first team players. I'm not interested in somebody who's going to take the time because somebody else wants to be a first team player. That's my attitude. There's somebody out there that wants to be a first team player. And if I'm committed to taking on somebody who doesn't really want that, just wants to, oh, well, yeah, we've got this group as our coaches, they help us through, but it's really not that important to us. No, okay. Why am I going to waste my time?
Yeah.
Luckily, I made choices. So these are choices. So we'll actually run a lot of this stuff before we take on a client. So this is the first part, knowing who I am. The next part of it, I think, is really important. I want to make sure how we're doing on time, because you know me, I've always got something to say. So
Yes.
I wondered what was going on.
So I think that this should be the first in a three-part series. We've gone over 30 minutes. And so I think we should give them a little teaser. And I know that you run a lot of programs that support business building and leadership seminars and business health and wellness retreats. And I find great value in what you have to say. And Hope our viewers do too. But so my idea is for you to give us some concluding remarks on knowing yourself today. And then maybe you want to give them a teaser for the next interview.
Yeah, well, let me start off with the teaser, because the
Okay.
teaser is noticing improvement. Sound a strange teaser, noticing
Noticing
improvement.
improvement?
But from what we've all, yeah, from what
Okay.
we've already spoken about today, right? If it's been listened to, we're going to notice improvement.
Yes. Okay. I
Strange,
think
isn't
that's
it?
good. Yeah. Well, we'll all have to ponder that. And I'll let you know if I drive the speed limit this week, and I'll let you know what happens.
Great, great, good. I look forward to that. You know, the beauty is that a lot of what it is that we speak about is very basic. It's very simple. We're talking business here, and yet, how many times have I mentioned sales or marketing or technology
No.
or distribution? But we've been talking business right the way through.
Well, these are global strategies. And when I'm thinking global, it's not just the globe. I'm thinking global as in the 10,000-foot view. And it's not about one transaction. It's about playing a bigger
Mm-hmm.
game. It's about how you show up. And those
Mm-hmm.
are the fundamentals of. All right. So thank you for this, Peter. And
Great,
will you
thank
come
you.
back? I hope you'll come back again for part 2.
Yeah, I mean, we got to set it up as to when we're going to do part 2. Why don't we do that now? Because this allows us to really play this bigger game in action and produce a result.
Okay. How about not next Saturday, but the Saturday after that?
Great.
Same
Good.
time.
Okay. Same time,
Same
same
week.
place. What we're going to do is noticing your improvement. And I hope that people, when watching this, can actually perhaps play it a couple of times. That's going
Yes,
to allow us to play the next part of this game about noticing your improvement. We're going to play from everyday results into everyday mastery.
I like that.
That work for you?
That works for me. I'll see you
Great.
in 2 weeks then. Thank you for
Thanks.
being with us, Peter.
Thank you.
And I'll see you soon.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Hi, you've been listening to me talk with Peter Marcus of Peter Marcus Coaching about playing a bigger game. And 2 weeks from Saturday, I hope you'll be able to tell us what kind of improvements you've noticed. Thanks for joining.